Good morning, everyone. A warm welcome to day 2 of STEM Management Week 2025, organized by IEEE Student Branch and WI Affinity Group of Atlas Kiltech University. It is a pleasure to welcome today's speaker, Dr. Kavita, who has joined us from University of Mumbai, India. Before we begin, I would like to share a brief introduction to Atlas Kiltech University. Atlas stands as India's first new age urban multidisciplinary university built on a foundation of innovation, global industrial lens, and future focused education, with a strong emphasis on technology, design, management, and creative science.
Atlas
Atlas
requires
requires
students
students
with the
with the
skills
skills
and
and
mindsets
mindsets
needed to
needed to
solve
solve
real-world
real world
applications.
application.
Continuing our
Continuing our
STEM
STEM
Management Week,
Management Week,
yesterday
yesterday
we
we
explored
explored
an
an
engaging
engaging
session
session
on
on high
high-performance
performance
computing and
computing and
artificial
artificial
intelligence.
intelligence.
Today,
Today,
we are
we are
privileged to
privileged to
have
have
Dr.
Dr.
Kavita
Kavita
with
with
us,
us,
who
who
will
will
be
be
guiding
guiding
us
us
through an
through an
important
important
and
and
exciting
exciting
topic:
topic
machine
machine learning basis of advanced
to
to
basis to
basis to advanced
algorithm.
algorithm.
We
We
would
would
like
like
to
to
express
express
our
our
heartfelt
heartfelt
gratitude
gratitude
to
to
Dr.
Dr.
Indu
Indu
Shahani,
Shahani,
who
who
is
is
the
the
Chancellor
Chancellor
of
of
Atlas
Atlas
Kiltech
Kiltech
University,
University,
Dr.
Dr.
Rajan
Rajan
Valurikar,
Valurikar, Vice Chancellor, Ms. Hina Shah,
Pro
Pro
Vice
Vice
Chancellor,
Chancellor,
and
and
Dr.
Dr.
Mr.
Mr.
Siddharth
Siddharth
Shahani,
Shahani,
who
who
is
is
the
the
founder
founder
and
and
executive
executive
president
president
of
of
Atlas
Atlas
Kiltech
Kiltech
University.
University.
We would also like to extend our sincere appreciation to Dr.
We would
Sashikant
also like
Patil,
to
who is
extend
the advisor of IEEE Maharaष्ट्र
our
Session,
sincere
IEEE Region
appreciation
10.
IEEE Region 10.
Dr.
Dr.
Sarika Chauhan,
Sarika
Branch
Chauhan,
Counselor
Branch
of IEEE
Counselor of
Student Branch.
IEEE Student
And
Branch.
lastly, Dr.
And
Suman
lastly,
Madan,
Dr.
Faculty
Suman
Advisor
Madan,
of
Faculty
WIE
Advisor
Affinity
of
Group,
WIE
constant
Affinity Group,
guidelines and
who constant
engagement
guidelines and engagement
have greatly strengthened.
have greatly strengthened Women in Engineering initiative at Atlas.
We would
We would
additionally
additionally like to acknowledge the
dedication of
dedication of
EXICOM
EXICOM
members
members
Louis
Louis
Singh, who is
Singh,
the
who is
chair
the
of
chair of
WIE,
WIE,
Bhumi
Bhumi
Shah,
Shah,
Vice
Vice
Chair,
Chair,
Shruti
Shruti
Shinde,
Shinde,
Secretary,
Secretary,
and
and
Tuvi
Tuvi
Jain,
Jain,
Treasurer
Treasurer
of
of
WIE.
WIE.
Their
Their
hard
hard
work
work
and
and
coordination
coordination
have
have
played
played
a
a
major
major
role
role
in
in
making
making
today's
today's
session
session
possible.
possible.
As
As
we
we
coordinate,
continue with the
continue
International STEM Day,
observed
observed
globally
globally
on
on
8th
8th
November,
November,
we
we
continue
continue
to
to
celebrate
celebrate
a
a week filled with innovation, curiosity, and learning. STEM Day highlights the importance of creative, analytic, critical thinking, and engineering. We hope to inspire students to explore new possibilities in emerging technology. With that, let us move forward to highlight today's event. I now invite Sheetal to introduce our speaker, Dr. Kavita.
नहीं नहीं कल लास्ट में फोटो वो लिया था कैमरा ऑन करके किया था आपने
It's my pleasure to introduce our speaker for today, Dr. Kavita, a
हाँ
highly accomplished academician with over 23 years of teaching and research experience. She's currently a professor in the Computer Engineering Department at St. Francis Institute of Technology, Borivali, Mumbai, and has previously served a decade-long tenure as a head of department. Dr. Sonawane is also a recognized PhD guide under the University of Mumbai, with 4 doctoral candidates currently pursuing research under her guidance. Her expertise spans image retrieval, medical image processing, machine learning, and data analytics. She has published over 65 research papers in reputed, peer-reviewed, and scope indexed journals and conferences, including IEEE, Springer, ACM, and Elsevier. She also holds a German patent with another patent under evaluation in India and has guided numerous postgraduate and undergraduate research projects. Dr. Sonawane has been an active leader in the IEEE community. She has served as Chair of Women in Engineering, WIE, and IEEE Bombay Section 2023. and Vice Chair of Student Activities Committee 2022, and has contributed in multiple roles, including coordinator, reviewer, speaker, and session chair for several IEEE sponsored events. She has also been honored with prestigious recognitions such as Professor Y.K. Bhushan Most Influential Professor Award 2023 and Most Influential Professor Award 2024. So today she will be speaking on the topic Machine Learning and Basics to Advanced Algorithms. Ma'am, we're honored to have you with us. Please take over the session.
Thank you, Sheetal, for the warm introduction, and thank you. Am I audible? Am I audible?
Yes, ma'am, you're audible.
So thank you for the warm introduction, and it's my pleasure to be part of this expert lecture series organized by IEEE WI branch at Atlas Skill Tech University. As the name itself is a Skill Tech University, and I've always seen you all uh, behind improving the skills of students and faculties, and so many events you all organize successfully. So yes, congratulations to all of you for having such platforms for students and faculties, and I'm happy to be part of this. So shall I share my screen, ma'am?
Yes, ma'am.
Is it visible, ma'am?
Yes, ma'am, it's visible.
Yeah. So very good morning to one and all present in the meeting. I have actually, as ma'am said, we will have mixed levels of graduate students in the session. So I thought of having a quick journey of machine learning algorithms from basics to advanced. So sometimes we have mess up with the things like machine learning is a black box. So just to come out of that feeling, and we can have a basic understanding of what is machine learning, how exactly it works, what is the base of machine learning, and then how we are moving towards the advanced applications, and where in the daily lives we are using the machine learning. In brief, I'll try to cover these points. So maybe because of the time limit and constraint, we won't be able to have detail about each and every algorithm. But then yes, definitely you can always have the discussion in maybe future sessions, or with my notes I can share with you all. So why machine learn, or why learning is required, we'll start with this. So when we talk about machine learning, or when we start learning about machine learning, so what is machine learning is machine we all know we make the machine learn for what purpose we want it to learn and give the output for as per our requirement, as per our desires, right? So machine learning is we are programming the computers to have desired performance, to have optimized performance based on the data we are going to provide to it, based on our experience, based on the previous experience. We would like the machine to work towards the needs of the user. So in traditional programming, in traditional programming, we used to give input data and program, and then computer used to process it, and we used to get the output. But now the trend has changed because of machine learning. We're inputting the data, we're inputting the output, expected output, or the desired output, or already existing some sample outputs, and we give it as an input as a part of machine learning to computer, and then it generates the program which is customized to our needs, which is customized to our data and the expected output. So this is what the change in traditional programming and machine learning programming. Definitely we cannot apply machine learning for all the applications or all the problem statements, but we have to be it somewhere where we have the experience of the data, and based on that experience we would like to have the predicted patterns, or we want to have some correct accurate guesses based on the existing facts. So for those kinds of applications, or somewhere we are lacking the application of human expertise, for that all those applications we target to get solutions through machine learning. So when we started journey of machine learning, data mining was the field. Now it's you might be thinking like, yes, data mining is a very old concept, but then mining came from this, machine learning came from this facts only, from this context only. So data mining, what we do, we process the raw data, we generate the information. When we have the information, we try to process the information to figure out, to get some inferences, to take out some inferences, so that it leads to generation of knowledge. So data, information, and knowledge, and this knowledge then can be used for solving the problems in various different contexts or domains. And based on these inferences, based on the knowledge we have generated, we can solve many real-time problems. So KDD is a non-trivial process of identifying the valid, novel, potentially useful, and ultimately understandable patterns in data is what defined by the experts. And yes, for this fact, to make it a real solution, we are coming with different algorithms. So when this mining came in picture, various applications have been designed and developed by the experts in different domains. In retail domain, market basket analysis, recommendation system, supply chain management, customer relationship management. In finance domain, we have different credit assignment problem solutions, credit scoring system, fraud detection, anomaly detection. Then in manufacturing domain, industry optimization, troubleshooting. In medical domain, we have different problems to be solved with respect to medical diagnosis and different diseases in the context of drugs recommendation also. In telecommunication domain, we have application of these kinds of this kind of solutions are required to improve the quality of service, to optimize the quality, to optimize the services given by the telecommunication industries. Bioinformatics, web mining. So these are the application we started building and applying the data mining algorithms, and then this knowledge generation, feature extraction. So when do we use machine learning? Now, how it came in picture is, machine learning is actually used. We all know when we are going to, we have the expertise, definitely the gift given by God to every individual, a unique thinking, a critical thinking. But definitely when it comes to apply it, sometimes we work with intuitions, sometimes we work with biases in our intuitions. And when it comes to have the accurate decision making, when it comes to expectations of the unbiased decision, unbiased solutions for the given problems, somewhere we say that human expertise may fail or may not give desired results, or it may so in that case we can propose the use of these machine learning techniques. So ML is used when human expertise does not exist, like navigation on Mars. Human can't explain their expertise, like recognition of different speeches, different audio signals with even small variations. Models, when we need to train the models or customize the models based on the personalized requirements, or as per the users requirements, or the we can say problem specific solutions, when we want to design our models to handle those problem specific uh, solutions. Models are based on huge amounts of data in genomics, when different patterns and every small change in the genes, it coming with new information. Then we have to handle this huge amount of data. We can propose the use of machine learning. Then solution changes in time based on the available resources, based on the available other advancing technology. We cannot stick to the existing old solutions, and our system should be upgraded automatically, or our system should adapt to those changes. So definitely, instead of going with the manual process or human expertise to be applied, the things which are already set and now we want to adapt it to new systems, we can definitely apply machine learning algorithms. So we can apply solutions, machine learning, where the solution needs to be adapted to particular cases of biometrics and authentication systems. So machine learning is a computer program we set to learn. In brief or in short, the definition of ML is, it is a computer program which is set to learn from the experience E with respect to some class of task T. So task can be the user desire, any problem we have taken in hand and for which we want the system to work, that will be our task set. So experience E with respect to some task set T and the performance measure P. If its performance at task T as measured by P improves with experience E, is what the learning is happening. So we can, in simple words, we can say that a well-defined learning task is given by the combination of these three major attributes: performance for particular task T, and the experience with respect to that task. So suppose the example is, there are various examples we can take. Here the simple example I've taken: a chess learning problem. Suppose task T is a playing chess. Like that, this can be applied to any domain, any similar problem. So task T is playing a chess. Performance measure will be percentage of games won against the opponents. Will be my performance measure of the how that task is performing, how the game is being played. So what are the results of that? So that will be my performance measure. And based on training, now what is E is the training experience, playing the practice game against itself. So how long you play, how many games you play, based on that you develop the expertise through the experience. So this experience will be used based on the performance we have received in the trial stages. That performance can be improved with the experience E, and the task T can be improved, and the playing of chess playing can be improved the way we want it to be. So this way the learning can be done for the machine is what this black box does. So simply we have to think about what function we are targeting at, what task we need to improve should be our focus. Whenever we are applying a machine learning algorithm, we should be very smart to select the algorithm which is best suitable for the task. So we need to decide the task T, and we should know what kind of experience will be the best. So we should, being a good machine learning solution provider, we should be able to think properly for the task T, and the performance measures to be used to evaluate that performance of task T, and how we can utilize this to improve further the task T based on the experience. So if we are capable of deciding about the experience E and the task we are targeting T, so we can make the machine learn the way we want it. It will never remain a black box for us, is what I wanted to give message to this basic slide. But this is what somewhere we have to think when we are choosing the algorithms for the problems, different problems we need to solve. So selection of these three is very much important. As I said, then it will never remain a black box for you. You should know what features I should focus, you should know what task my computer should do for me, and what parameters will help me, and how I can improve the experience of my learner or my algorithm or my model. So if you should know what kind of training it should undergo. So those different patterns or those different set of actions I can provide to my model. So it will never be a black box for me, is what I wanted to give message to this slide. So what is machine learning? We many of you must be aware of this, but then yes, these are the basic components of the learning system. So machine learning is study of algorithms that improve their performance at some task with experience is what we have seen, and how we can optimize the performance. So the performance will be optimized based on the previous or the past experience. So how to analyze this experience, how to analyze the data which is inputted to this model. So when I'm getting some data, the data will be in the uh, raw format, right? So when I'm processing the data, I need to extract some abstract information, some concepts, some features from the data. So that we can say feature extraction or abstraction information we can take out, because we may have huge data as an input to the machine learning models. So when I'm taking some facts or some abstractions or some concepts from this data, further what I need to do is this facts or these abstract data elements or these concepts should be studied or analytically, right? So when I want to analyze some abstract concepts or some feature which we have extracted, so inferences to be taken out. So how do I get the inferences? So definitely I need to apply some statistical techniques, some statistical parameters can be computed for those concepts, for those abstract elements or those that information, where we can have the inferences generation, and these inferences then can be used for some recommendation, for some predictions, and then further it can be evaluated how accurate they are or where they're lagging, what is the error, and then we try to regularize or we try to reduce the error. So this way the machine learning actually works. So the role of statistics is for inferences. The role of computer science, that we have to design the efficient algorithm to solve these optimization problems, and then uh, how we can represent the output, how we can represent these inferences, how we can represent these abstractions. At each stage we can have our own plans or own formats of concepts, so that, and based on that the algorithms can be designed. As I said, there are various new algorithms are there, maybe is how to represent the features. So feature engineering is also one of the domain which comes which is the heart of the machine learning, where we can engineer our features based on our needs, relevant to the problem, relevant to the context. So I can engineer my features. Engineering is, we all know, alternative solutions to one problem. So if all 60 participants are there, everyone can look at the problem and will have different 60 solutions. So when it is a feature engineering, I can look at my features, I can process my features, I can apply different techniques to be very much selective or smart. I can encourage the smart selection of my features through all these the different algorithms which I feel will be suitable for selecting smart features, ignoring the redundant ones, ignoring the unwanted ones, based on the context. So when the this is where the computer science plays the role while deciding upon the algorithms, which further leads to optimization, to get the optimized results in every task or every problem we are solving. So, how is the growth of machine learning? Machine learning is preferred approach, we all know, for speech recognition. Nowadays, natural language processing. Now it's we started with simple natural language processing. Now it has come to the field of prompt engineering. You might have come across these terms. Prompt engineering is one of the now advanced domain to be learn and take the advantage of. Basically, it deals with natural language. We started the journey with journey with theory of computer science, and then compilers were designed, and now we are coming with the engines, smart machine learning or deep learning based llama models, or these advanced models and technologies which are processing natural language within few seconds and giving the support to the user. And we are moving towards smart prompt engineering, so desired things can be done uh, within a short span of time. So these are the machine learning approaches and the growth of machine learning. Computer vision, medical outcome analysis, you might have come across many applications in that domain. Robot control, computational biology is also one of the emerging, and various people in medical or this computational biology field, they are from science domain, but they are expecting engineers or the technical people to be part of their team for giving solutions, machine learning based solutions. And there are various projects going on. So those who are looking for having the biology, computational biology knowledge and engineering at your end, so you can approach these kinds of projects and contribute in that. And this trend is now accelerating. It is demanding like improved machine learning algorithms, improved data capturing techniques, networking, and supporting like GPU kind of systems, because we know now you all must be using the terms, these many epochs were used, this much time it is taking. So everything is now the trending change or the advancement in technology is actually demanding support of all these resources along with machine learning. We know when we are solving complex tasks, software to be written is will also be complex, so writing it by hand will be difficult, so we need AI agents to do this job. The new IoT and IoT devices, IoT and new sensor technologies and advanced technologies in uh, electronics and telecommunication and other sister domains, we can say now we all are connected. We all are interdisciplinary solutions we are trying to provide to the humanity. So when these advancements are coming, our algorithms should take advantage of this advancement technology, and we need to train our algorithms, we need to train our programs to take the benefits of these available technologies. So there is demand for self customization to user, self customization towards the environments along with the available resources to make full efficient utilization of the available techniques. So we cannot stick to only old algorithms, but we should mold our algorithms fundamentally, if we know the things, we can we know how I can better solutions can be provided with the available technology. This thought we need to keep in mind while generating or applying the deep learning techniques. It should not be just simply I'm using llama model, I'm using this model, but this mindset we need to develop is what, so we can come up with our own smart algorithms. We can have your own models build, like CNN and other deep learning models. So there are this was, I'll skip this now, because the expert knowledge from human was, we know there are failures, as I said. It works with intuitions, and sometimes intuitions won't work, go with all facts, and that's why the system fails. But when it comes to machine learning, machine learning will not work with intuition, but yes, you can have the guesses, and those guesses can be the guesses the machine gives can be rectified, or as we know, gradient descent, the role of gradient descent in reducing the error. It starts with the high error and then try to slowly learn and reduce the error. So definitely, in comparative to human expertise, machine learning can do better, because it will not ignore the things sometimes the human experts may, or we can avoid the biases in ML. So advanced ML and state of the art applications of machine learning. So we all, you might have come across many of these applications, and it is not today, but it's actually started in a few countries in 2011 or 13. The cars came on the road, autonomous cars, vehicles that can sense their environment and drive little or no human input. So there are levels actually for autonomy being taken care in cars with the use of the resources of AI, cameras, sensors, radar, and then a different uh, radars kind of techniques. The remote sensing technology they are using, and GPS technology to understand the road and they make the decisions. So there are various new technologies which can be used as the to design the autonomous car. What sensors or what different technologies available we can use, and the autonomous cars are on now on the road. So here again I said interdisciplinary things are coming together, so we should have knowledge of this, or maybe multiple people can come together and give solutions to these kind of problems based on their expertise, and take advantage of this machine learning to give such solutions to the society. So these are adaptive vision, path planning. There are different finder algorithms. See, again, this, when I'm talking about path planning or pathfinder or shortest pathfinder, again it comes from basics to advanced. I if I know Digikstra, if I know the basic algorithms, I know how to come to the level with the new obstacles, how I can improve my Digikstra, how I can optimize the performance of my shortest path algorithm, and the same I can incorporate in my autonomous car. So whatever knowledge we take in our fundamental years of learning, or your first year or second year, or in different domain, we can definitely apply, and we can make the machine learn through our knowledge we can use, and then we can make it learn to our needs. So nothing goes waste is what I would say. What understanding you have, you make your machine to understand your understanding and make it smart further, then you can improve its performance. So these are the where now autonomous cars are being used today. We can see the cities like San Francisco, and this, if you all want, I can share the slides. But then, yes, you can Google search and you will get this. So these are the countries where these cars are being used in full fledged, and they're taking advantage of it to solve the problems of the mankind. Then we know deep learning, how it is grooming now. So these are, we are discussing the advanced state of the art. First example was uh, like the autonomous cars we have seen. So now what this slide we all can see face recognition. So when it comes to deep learning models, from basics to advanced, we are going the applications when we are discussing. When it comes to deep learning models, it starts from the pixel level information. It takes small neighborhood pixels and their correlation maybe, and again we can have our own filters at the layers of different DL models or ML models. So it starts learning from the pixel level. It goes to edges and then based on the edges and the shape, it identifies different parts of the objects, and then it builds the model. So when it comes to deep learning model, it start learning from a very granular level, that is pixel, and then it move towards the object models. So this learning, how deep learning models are working, these layers, actually each layer does a dedicated job. So when the first layer does it, it work with pixel, which is a very raw data. It just try to identify the group of pixels, maybe how similar they are, or maybe is there any correlation among those pixels. Or if it is not, then then it comes to edges, when the discrimination is there between the pixels. So then it comes to identification of edges, and then it separate out the object parts. And then when combining when the combination of edges I'm taking and trying to relate it, so we come across the building the object shape or the object models. So when it comes, each and every layer is learning slowly. So it like we, as I said, the human brains learn from small facts or the basic knowledge, and when we develop our advanced knowledge, same way the deep learning models are working. And deep learning models are working, they do not ignore these small facts in the data. Each and every small thing which the model feels can be utilized, and something which can be ignored can be taken care by these deep learning models. And that's where the multiple layers can be added. We can have special layers just to monitor which are the important features and which are unimportant features, so it which leads to dimensionality reduction. So when we heard about this, hear about how we achieve the dimensionality reduction, or how I can add my own layer. So you can give some dedicated job to your layer. Suppose as when somebody tells you कि deep learning model में अपना एक layer add करो. So how can I do that? Suppose now we know the genetic algorithms. So genetic algorithms are working for the solving and giving the optimized solutions to the problems. So when it comes to suppose if I'm coloring any picture, so I want the proper combination of selection of colors. So if I'm not able to decide manually, so I can use these models to color for the colorization. When I'm using this colorization, it is generating, it is pixel by pixel, it is working. Then it is identifying the regions which can be color with similar color, and then where the difference discrimination is coming, I can color it with different color shade. So I'm able to decide upon this. But when sometimes I need to have a proper accuracy in my colorization, and my palette of color should be very much it should be customized to the need of the user. I want aesthetic colors to be given, or what kind of color palette the user needs, right? So when I want to customize it to my need, I need to design a fitness function, suppose, right? So in deep learning, I feel we can add a layer which is giving me a suitable combination of various colors and multiple color palettes it will generate. And selection of this one color palette or the best fit color palette will be my fitness function. So I have to design my own equation. If you know fitness function concept, so I can design my own equation of a fitness function, wherein it will help me to decide the perfect color palette for my coloring problem or colorization problem. So here, when deep learning models are so we can say that I've added my own layer which is doing this job of computing the fitness function, which is in the form of best fit color palette, right? So that if I'm able to do that, this is will be the novel and great contribution as a researcher in deep learning applications for colorization. So similarly, you can build your thinking for solving the any real-time problems. And now many people, you might have heard, in deep learning model they're adding the attention layer. So how this attention layer is doing the job of improving the performance. So one example which I've given for fitness function, here actually I'm combining the best aspects of genetic algorithms with deep learning techniques. And so see, so as I said, knowledge, when we take in different domains, machine learning is allowing me to take advantage of that. And that is what is I wanted to tell you all today, ki we should not let our knowledge go waste. Utilize it in some way. You should be able to relate how you can use that concept here and make your machine understand what you are thinking. So that is what the beauty of this machine learning, and that's why we call it magical black box. But the magicians are actually, we are the magicians, and I feel so. What you think, you can make it think. What knowledge you have, you ask it to think in your perspective, and it will go on thinking faster than what you think. It will do better than what you might be plan. You are just planning, but it will do better for you. Is what the machine learning domain is. So as I said, this was, and one more example I've given you, that was of genetic algorithm fitness function, and then these are the same as I said, layers by layers, that dedicated job they are doing. Here we can see the third layer. When it comes to second layer, shared common features they work, and then they go on move towards object specific features, and then next layer will do more specific features, and then the next layer will boost those features. So like that we can have dedicated function to each layer, and we can improve the performance of our systems. So these are the labeling via deep learning. We know when high density areas are there, and you all might be come across many models are there. You might have seen YOLO models, and the new advanced YOLO versions of this are doing all the these jobs for us. So again, machine learning in advanced techniques, automatic speech recognition, that is ASR, which does the feature extraction, applies, and those extracted features will be again passed through different layers. And this we can apply the language models or different transducer techniques the way we want the output. We want it in which language we want, then use further. We can use some dictionary based approach to recognize the that speech. So yes, now various llama models, GMA models, and then advanced models are being coming now, as large language models are there today's focus for speech recognition, text recognition, and solving the needs of the different users in different domains and context. So we know these all applications of Alexa and all. These are the actually, these are the applications of or impact of deep learning in space technology. We have come up with uh, uh, various solutions and on the fingertips. So what are the types of learning basically in machine learning? When we have seen the growth of machine learning, the basic understanding of PET, that is performance, task, and that experience. So what are the learnings we can segregate or categorize in machine learning? There are three main categories. It actually starts with the association analysis, and based on that, then we can the machine works. So supervised learning, unsupervised learning, and reinforcement learning. Hope I'm audible, and the pace is okay of talking.
Yes,
Please,
ma'am.
somebody, yeah. Thank you, ma'am. So, machine learning, supervised, unsupervised, and reinforcement learning. So, machine learning, when it comes to this categorization, when it comes to supervised learning, we give the system machine learning models or deep learning models. We give data, training data, and desired outputs. So, here ground truth is given, is what we call the desired outputs or expected output. Unsupervised learning is training data without desired outputs. Semi-supervised, we give training data plus few desired outputs. And reinforcement learning, we rewards from the sequence of actions. It learns from the pattern, or it learns from the policy, from rules. So and the rewards it gets after execution of each task. So that is called reinforcement learning. So when it comes to association analysis, learning associations we all use in generally in many recommendation systems or market basket analysis. Like we, based on the probability theory, we work that probability that somebody who buys X will also buy Y, and then we try to figure out the suggestions or the recommendations. So somebody who buys bread can also buy milk based on the number of transactions and the combination and each and every attribute, and then we use different association rule mining techniques for finding out these associations, and then we further move to predictions or classifications. So when it comes to supervised learning, in classification problem, we will be given x1, y1, x2, y2, the various features or the input parameters which we want to classify. So we have to design a function f of x to predict y for the given x. And when it comes to classification, we have to remember classification uses a categorical data. So why is categorical in that case? So suppose I should provide the when I'm providing the ground truth or the uh, here two classes suppose, so malignant or benign. So if the cancer is detected or not detected, or if it is so those facts can be identified from these two classes. So based on the tumor size, this is one of the feature, but we can have multiple such features. Multiple features can be used apart from only tumor size. There are various attributes, or we can have a feature with multiple components also. We can, so as I said, if you have knowledge of designing your features, you can create the vector of those different components as a one feature vector, or you can have different features and you can combine them in one feature vector. You can create your own feature space, and then you can use machine learning classifiers. So sometimes now deep learning models are doing all that job for us, but previously when DL was not there, or sometimes we were not aware of DL techniques, we used to do this. I used to prepare my own feature space, uh, uh, the facts I'm identifying from the huge data. So that feature space I can utilize the way I want it to be. I have feature 1, feature 2, feature 3, feature 4, but I can create my own feature vector, which is combination of f1, f3, f5. I feel those are more significant features for me, so I will ignore f2 and f4, but I can make a vector of f1, f3 and f5 for me, and then this feature space I can give to the different classifiers. So sometimes if you don't want the ML to extract the features, you can have your own feature space to make and then give it to classify. That can also be done. And when I've done this experiments with my medical image data, I could actually prove somewhere when CNN model was doing the same job, I got equally based performance for the features we extracted using different techniques which devised by me or my team. So in that, actually those features that we actually worked on the feature engineering part, and that feature space we have inputted to the classifier, which was the machine learning classifier SVM, or then there are various classifiers we know which can boost the significant features and the selection of features and all those different techniques we tried, AdaBoost algorithm and simple learning and so many. Then we can use different advanced machine learning concepts to further. So but as I said, again one more message here is, if you know your manual methods which are allowing you to play with the data and features. Many people are now love to play with the data. Like we know when huge data is there, sometimes we do not know how deep learning model is actually processing the data, but you have to use your knowledge of data. You want to know the system should process your data according to your thought process. So you can do this first pre-processing as per your techniques, and then give that feature space to the ML classifiers. Um, so this was also proven by many, and we were also a contributor in that one. But nowadays, when I'm coming across new deep learning techniques and the study of these deep learning techniques, they are actually capable of doing all this. What the manual techniques are also doing, as I said, we have device which was equivalently giving me the best results. Actually, it was outperforming than CNN, which was the best achievement for us. So some, but nowadays the deep learning models are again solving these problems. This was here. This is for classification, supervised learning for classification. Then we know different classification is actually simple to know, like low risk to differentiating between different classes. To discriminator is the main model role of this machine learning or deep learning model is discriminator role. So what it does actually, it it generates some threshold depending on your data. It processes and it comes with a discriminant model, which actually gives the separation of here you can see the simple if statement, which income is greater than theta 1 and savings are greater than theta 2, that definitely the risk is low as the risk is high. Similarly, you can have your own and then own discrimination models. Actually, ML also have its own, it applies, but you can decide I want to use suppose there are different distances and similarity measures can be used to achieve the accuracy in our performance. So we should know which similarity is better, which is biased because of other factors. Simple thing, if you see Euclidean distance and the normal cosine correlation distance, we know these are similarity matrices. People, just students or maybe many of us, just try try this using this, then try using that, this is giving better, then leave it, other one we know because it is giving bad performance. But we should know the fact why it is giving bad performance here. So we know when I'm using Euclideans and cosine correlation, simple example. So cosine correlation is actually when I'm scaling up my features. See, when I'm using two features and when I'm comparing those two features, if I'm using Euclidean distance, and if my features are now boosted because of feature engineering, or they got scaled up because of the change in the data, Euclidean distance will vary. I'm telling you, Euclidean distance will vary because just the scaling of the vectors may vary my Euclidean distance. But when it comes to cosine correlation distance, which I'm using for discrimination, so it will not vary with respect to, even though my features are getting scaled up. So these facts we need to understand. So selection of techniques and models, sometimes everybody is using that, I am using it, should not be the it is not the good idea actually. We should know the facts about the model, why it is giving better there, why it is not giving better. If you know that fact, you will end up giving best solution to the existing problems. And as I said, when Euclidean distance is biased towards, or it is what we say, it is adapting the, it is changing with the changing scale of the feature, but cosine correlation will not change. So when certain feature vectors, even though they are scaled up, I know still they are different, and so Euclidean distance would be the best distance or similarity index or similarity measure for me. So this way we should actually combine the facts, inferences we have taken out from based on bad results or good results, and then apply, and we can design our own equations or in modifications in the models we are applying or using. So these are the classification applications which we all know: face recognition, character recognition, different handwriting styles. We will train our model to different handwriting style. We all use these terms. Model को training पे लगा दिया है. It is one day it will be trained, half an 1 hour it will be trained. GPU हो गया तो half less number of epochs में it will be done. So why it is, your model is actually learning different styles, variations, and then features are getting polished based on the different styles, and then it coming with the results. So same with the face recognition, we will have different samples, different positions, poses, and then different elements in the face which are actually either creating the problems in extracting the features, or maybe adding some meaningful information which will help me in face recognition. So we should know what is to be included, what is to be excluded. This we know, but then how my model will learn. So pattern recognition kind of applications also, so we can have that in under this classification. Speech recognition, which we have already discussed. In speech recognition also, if you see, we can combine different things. It's not about only acoustic model or acoustic information, but it also takes help of some models at using multiple modalities of input. So multi-modal data is like your lip movement also will be taken, it will be also be captured, as well as your sound, and the spectrogram will be framed, and these different modalities will help me. So this is called sensor fusion. I'm taking video information, I'm taking motion information, lip movement, and the uh, uh, acoustic information, and then this multiple modalities I'm using. So it is my heterogeneous information or hybrid feature when I'm using multimodalities. So it is a fusion feature vector I can use to for the best speech recognition systems. And to when normal human expertise I'm using, it is really difficult for me, but machine learning models will help us to do achieve all this, and medical diagnosis and all. So yes, supervised learning regression, it works not with categorical data, it works with last 5 minutes. Yeah. So I hope I'll wind up in next 5-10 minutes. Is it okay, Dr. Suman?
Ma'am,
So
you can take
yeah.
3 4 5 minutes more.
Yeah, thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much. So, supervised learning goes with now regression. It is doesn't work with categorical data. When we will always not have categorical information, right? We may have some set of continuous values or some real values, and based on the time series or continuous values data, I have to give some predictions based on my available data or experienced information. So for that, again, it is supervised learning, but it will not call a classification problem. It will be a regression learning. So in that, we can simply say that when it is classification, it works with categorical data, and when it is regression, it works with real valued continuous values. And we come up with the we can design the function f of x to predict y for the given x, and you can have multiple functions based on the input series you have. As so maybe price of the used car and the car attributes we can use, so mileage of the car, or what we can say, different car attributes can be taken into consideration, the year of car engine, and those attributes if I'm taking, and the other facts which are giving me variation in the price will vary with respect to those real values. So those attributes can be taken, and different functions can be designed to see the regression analysis, which leads to prediction of the uh, uh, any y output which we want to predict with respect to the real valued data, the continuous information about the parameters which we have selected through regression analysis, which is a simple technique but very useful one. Regression applications are being used in these autonomous cars also for handling angle of steering wheel, and then a robot arm and its movement. Even regression sometimes I've seen in applications of drones when they're taking some load, and then the angle they set for picking up the load based on the actually it is used in many military applications, those or where they have to shift some things. So drones, for those designs, these regressions they apply to decide the proper decision predictions, where the drone will actually land or how it will pick up, whether will it be able to bear that much load. So for that, these people are trying this uh, uh, analysis with this regression. Then next is, as we have this was discussion about supervised learning. Decision trees tools that create rules. They use predictions of future cases, knowledge extraction, compression, outlier detection. Outlier, we know, expectation that do not cover by the rule are outliers. As I said, supervised learning, definitely we cannot work. We need not stick to only one kind of attribute or data element. We can have multiple dimensions of corresponding to an attribute. As I said, tumor size is not only the if you feel, you can add multiple attributes: thickness, cell size, cell shape, maybe texture of that tumor if you get the images. So that can also be added as a one more dimension of that attribute, which really helps in, as I said, again it will be fusion, right? So when I'm fusing this different information attributes uh, in the feature for which my model is being trained, the information for model is being trained, it will definitely lead to good predictions and results which we are expecting. So unsupervised learning, what normally happens, no output, but then based on the it is actually unsupervised. We can say can be applied to clustering. So it learns from its own. Here there is no output. It tries to identify the correlation, and based on the highly correlated data, it groups together and forms the clusters, and then it can further refine those clusters by looking at the outliers, or sometimes it faces the problem of outfitting, overfitting and underfitting, and then models actually learn through training only here in clustering, because here there is no ground truth provided in unsupervised learning. We don't give the output here, what expected output. So example application: customer segmentation, image compression, color quantization, then biometrics as learning from different patterns or motifs, or we can say DNA or different patterns. So this learn from its own, that is unsupervised. So in genes and then their variations based on the any small timely change also brings a difference in the genes color and the you can see the genetic analysis in computational biology. Also people are using these machine learning techniques very enthusiastically nowadays. As I told you, you can search for projects in ICMR, and they are looking for the projects which is combination of engineering and biomedical engineering. So yes, this is about unsupervised learning and clustering. So this is one of the application. It does independent component analysis, separate combines into original resources. That is like ICA, PCA. Here it is showing unsupervised learning with ICA. So last important, I just wanted to, I'll just take 5 minutes and then maybe 2-3 minutes, not 5. So reinforcement learning is the now new advanced machine learning techniques. Supervised and there are the categories. Each category we have advanced algorithms, but reinforcement learning nowadays, how it works, the basic idea of reinforcement learning is sequence of states and actions with delayed or depends on the rewards. It decides the policy of behavior. So when my model, how it will behave, the policy will be decided based on the sequence of states and the actions will be planned. So what action should an agent take in particular situation will be decided, and this is called the reinforcement learning. So ultimately, when we know now, you might have heard about agentic AI. Different agents are doing different dedicated jobs, and they are replacing the human expertise. So definitely, why? Because it learns from the sequence of states. Each state is going to give some meaningful information to that agent, to that model. When it knows the information, knows the state, how strong the state is. How strong the state is means how informative that state is, how good that state is. If the state is very much informative and meaningful, the actions can be particularly planned properly for that agent. So this states, if it is good, it receives good rewards, and based on those rewards, an agent decides the output policy or decides the actions to be taken. So here, no supervised output, but delayed reward. We would say, and as generally how we work, when we try to do something new, we experience it first, right? Then when we are doing something new, how dedicatedly and how much involvement we show in doing that, so that is called state. So when I'm doing it, I'm ignoring and doing it something just for sake of doing it, it will not give me correct state. But when I'm giving so that is called good state. Or so here no supervised output but delayed reward can be given, and that decides the set of action plan for the agent. So here we can use the reinforcement learning in game playing robot in maze, balancing the pole on your hand. See small, it takes the catch holds the small changes in the movement of the pole on your hand, and then with respect to that data, it decides the action, momentum, and then displacement and all that. So multiple agents and the agentic AI takes the help of this thing. So I think stop here. So ML in nutshell, here tens of thousands of machine learning algorithms, hundreds new every year they're coming. But we should know, and we should keep in mind that every ML algorithm has three components: representation, optimization, and evaluation. And as I said, that P, T, and E, if we know, we can learn the machine the way we want it to be. We can give the depth of learning to the machine using advanced algorithms right from the fundamentals. So yes, these are the ML models you might have come across. CNN, recurrent neural networks, each has having their own speciality, and that is why basic will never change. Only the job the models are doing is giving them the different names, and they are coming with the different applications for the society. So what job the model is doing, the name is given. So DNN, CNN, RNN, Then long short-term memory network. It has got that capacity of storing the sequences and remember the long-term sequences. So it is long-term short memory. Then transformers, which are actually using, as I said, attention layer is being added. Then generative address networks, where how discriminator plays important role in those. Autoencoders, reinforcement learning models, support vector machines, random forest. You might have heard these all names, but this is something part of your supervised, unsupervised reinforcement learning, and the way it works, the way you have designed your functions, your filters, your kernel, your layers. Yeah, so we can stop here. So eminent practice is understand domain, prior knowledge and goals, data integration and selection, processing, learn the model and interpret the results.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Kavita.
Thank
Before
you.
proceeding further, let me first welcome. We are honored to have Dr. Shani. Hi,
It's
ma'am.
indeed
Good
a
morning.
pleasure for me to be here today, and thank you, Dr. Kavita. I come from a management and commerce background, but today it's been a great learning for me, and I think I saw 98 students on this. Thank you so much. I could see
Thank
all
you,
of them absolutely involved and interested in what you were saying. And you could have gone on for another 1 hour. We wouldn't have minded. But I think students have lectures. So thank you so much for inviting me, Dr. Suman. And it's indeed been a pleasure.
Ma'am, it's always a pleasure to listen to you because you are the one who always motivates women in engineering. And we love your adjective, Wonder Woman in Engineering. Thank you so much,
Thank you
ma'am.
so much. All
Thank
the
you,
best.
Indu ma'am, for the opportunity, and Suman ma'am, because she was behind me and last week, and she said she only selected the topic that it would be great if we go for technical topics, and I'm really happy that I hope I could give some thought process to the and all smart women on the screen, Sheetal, Dhruvi. So we should
Thank
rock
you.
in the engineering and we should contribute positively. Thank you so much for the opportunity.
You know, I wish the students pay. If I take a lecture, I wish the students pay so much attention. I've been seeing all of them. I've been watching each of the students, and they've been glued to the lectures.
Thank you so much, ma'am. This is the motivation for
And
me.
ma'am, I would like to add, like me and Dr. Kavita Sonawane, we have worked in the SAC, like IEEE Student Activity Committee Chair.
Okay. Good. Congratulations.
Thank you, Dr. Sarika. How are you, ma'am?
Yes,
Well,
fine.
Ma'am,
Glad
your
to see
Dr. Indu, ma'am, and Dr. Suman, your team is really doing wonders because I'm seeing in IEEE all different groups, no? They are all are rocking. So in the beginning only I said to Dr. Suman that Atlas University, Skill Tech University, no, it goes with the your tagline, and yes, you are
We are
proving
honored
it.
to have
You are
you, ma'am.
actually
Thank you
proving
so
it.
much.
thank you.
And in
All the
fact,
best.
So
Thank
all
you.
the
Thank you,
best,
Indu, ma'am. Thank you
wishes
so
for
much.
your future endeavors. Yeah, thank you.
And this is something to virtually facilitate you, Dr. Kavita. And we will definitely like to host you someday, physical moment also. But please accept
Sure,
this
ma'am.
virtual facilitation from all of us here. And we are really honored to have such an in-depth session. And seriously, the way you give the clear instructions, explanations, and everything, it's highly inspiring. And I think most of our students have got the benefit from the basics of machine learning to how it is used in the applications. Thank you so much. And please, you're most welcome to come and conduct more workshops as an IEEE WIS. Education is something which is very close to our hearts
So
also.
come and have a cup of coffee with us.
Sure,
Yeah.
that I would definitely not
Thank
miss.
you so much.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Good
Thank
day,
you.
everyone. Yeah.
Thank you, Indu ma'am. Thank you so much. And yeah, thank you. And once again, thank you everyone,
Thank you
each
all the
participant.
participants.
Yeah, each of the participants, and let Shruti and Dhruvi carry forward the session to formally end the session. In fact, thank you so much, Dr. Kavita, for all the efforts you
Thank you,
made
ma'am.
for this.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you, ma'am. It's my
Thank you.
pleasure.